Hey, this is Atlas from Nexus Core. I'm doing, as I promised, post GBT-06 Pale Moon deck profile. So here we go. For your starter, we traded Happiness Collector for Cat Knight in High Boots, or Puss in Boots as I call him. His skill is GB1. When a new unit is placed on Vanguard Circle, Stride or otherwise, you can Magia him, which is a call out of Soul until the end of the turn. And then the other skill is when he's called from Soul, you can pick something else and Magia it out of Soul. But the catch is he's not a Forerunner, so you sacrifice that early game, pressure for being able to get basically free big columns, by itself, and then it retreats at the end of the turn. For triggers, we have for heal, and then 8 crit, which is 4 Poison Juggler and 4 Darkside Swordmaster. Poison Juggler is the Shove and Soul +3 Margol clone. He's fine, and he actually works with another dude who you'll see later, who I'm a big fan of. And then Swordmaster is the Heart Thump clone for Harri, so not much has changed since last time in that respect. Then we have Prankster Girl of Mirrorland, who's the stand. So it's 8 crit 4 stand, and her skill is when she GB1, when she's put it in Soul, you can put her back in deck and get something else. So this also helps with other stuff you'll see later. So it's 8 crit 4 stands. Grade 1 lineup is, starting off, we switched out the GPGs for the new GPG. This is Hoopmaster. Hoopmaster is, so she's a Magia GPG, and if you have another copy of her in the drop zone, you counterblast 1, so it's the exact opposite, kinda. You soul charge, you pull something out of the soul and give it plus 5k shield and intercept. So this works with a variety of cards. You can pull out a Flying Paradin and have it be a 10k interceptor, or one of my favorite things is you get Paradin, soul charge, get Purple Trapezes. Purple Trapezes puts that thing you just call out back in. Then you get Cat Knight and Boots. Then you do another thing. So you have the ability to fill up the field on the opponent's turn can actually be quite helpful if your opponent's trying to Diablo your face in. The fact that it's Counterblast versus Unflip is kind of not relevant anymore because this build is not as Counterblast heavy as my old build was. So, for Hoopmaster. Then you have 4 Stride Fodder, Searcher's Harri, and acts as Stride Fodder. Pretty simple. 2 Purple Trapezes, like last time, when she's put on rearguard, you can swap a unit in and out. So it's lots of crazy shenanigans, which is kind of something you just have to play the deck to see. 2 Sweet Clown, when he's put on rearguard from Soul, he gets plus 5k. So makes a really nice combo with Paradin still. Also works with the Cat Knight and Boots and other stuff. 1 Cutie Paratrooper, so she's like the reverse Paradin. So the way she works is GB1, when she's called out of Soul via a Magia skill, she can Soul Charge 1, Magia something else out, and give it plus 5k. So it's a bit harder of conditions to fulfill than Paradin, but it's still kind of nice, depending on what the situation is. So the build got a lot more techy, kind of like modern day Grand Blue. And then lastly, 1 Night Juggler, who is one of my favorite things to pull out with Hoopmaster, because you can get a draw on your opponent's turn, and she'd be a 10k interceptor. Grade 2s, you have 3 Darkside Princess, still as relevant as last time. She's still a 14k attacker on Vanguard, still great in early game, still great anytime. 3 Flying Paradin, on-call, soul charge, Magia something in the same column as him. So I'm mentioning him a lot, and he's one of the key cards in the deck. Running 4 kind of gunks up the works, though. You can run 4 if you want, though. 2 Spicy Clown. He is the Broken Heart clone for Pale Moon. So if you have, if something's called out of Soul, him and the Vanguard get +2. So you can do it offensively when you're doing all your Soul shenanigans. You can do it with Hoopmaster on your opponent's turn. I just like the card. He also helps fix your columns. Dreaming Pegasus, which is GB1, when she's put on rearguard, you check top 3, pick a card, put it in Soul. So you can put this little lady in and get whatever the hell you want, which I like. And then lastly, Barking Sky Tiger, because we're still running the Legion in here. Grade 3s, you have 4 Harri, because it's still a Harri deck, so For Harri. 3, Kraken Beast Tamer. It's not... Her importance came more with the advent of Hoopmaster, and that is her second skill, which is when something's called out of soul, you get plus 3k. So if on your opponent's turn, you use Hoopmaster, you call something out, she's at 14k. So Pale Moon is a lot more like Angel Featherish, defensive-ish type thing. You can also put 4 cards back and whiff, it kind of doesn't matter. The On Legion still is like an emergency type thing. So, and then lastly, my favorite new card, this is Artilleryman. He's got 2 skills. The first one is when a rearguard is put into your soul at any time, he gains the power of the card put in there. So, and it's not GB1, so you can call Poison Juggler, shove him in soul, he gets plus 3 from Poison Juggler, and then plus 4 from his own skill. And then the other skill is GB1, when a rearguard's put in the soul, you can put that unit in the drop zone, and pick one of your opponent's rearguards with the same grade, and then retire it. So you can do something like, you have Artilleryman, you do Hoopmaster, you soul charge, you call out Paradin, Paradin calls out Trapezes, Trapezes puts in Paradin, and then call something else out, and then you put Paradin in the drop zone and kill off their grade 2. So you kind of have to get creative with all the cards in here. It got a lot more complicated, but I know you guys can do it. You can also play with the ratio. For a while I was running 4 Harri, 4 Artilleryman, and this is just the deck as it is right now. But he's super good, and he's a common, which I love. G-Zone, you still have 1 Amanda. Her skill is on hit, you soul charge 1, you magia something, and you give it plus 2. So the most common thing is you get out Princess, she's at 11, and then with her skill, she's at 16. So really good first stride. You typically do it if you didn't stride Harri, because Harri typically, along with Puss in Boots and stuff, will give you a full field anyway, so there's no reason to use her. But she's still a good magia thing that helps you with another stride coming up. Still 4 Lunatic. When you stride him, you flip over a copy of him. All units called out of soul gets plus 2, so again, it's helps fix your columns. And GB3, he gets a passive crit. So if you strode something first, he's hitting for a crit at all times. I'm still considering doing 2 of him and 2 of the next guy coming up, but he's still really good. Yeah, so I still like him. Then you have 1 Stride Harri. So on attack, you counterblast GB3, counterblast 2, eat a unit, and then magia 3 units out. And then if you have a full field, your opponent picks 2 of their rear guards and puts them in the soul. So depending on what you're playing against, this can really mess up some formations. So if you're playing against like Nova Grappler, D Police, Royal Paladin, Shadow Paladin to an extent, it depends on when you do it. You can use him as a finisher, you can use him as a panic button, you can use him as a mid-game stride. He just works very, very well. You don't need more than 1 copy of him though, because it's kind of a heavy counterblast cost, counterblast 2. Then lastly, the new guy, Curtain Call Announcer Mephisto. So he has an axe skill. You flip over a card in the G-Zone, and then he gets the continuous skill of all of your units, him and rear guards. You get plus 1k for each Mephisto face up in the G-Zone. So if you stride him first, it's plus 1k to the whole field, which again fixes numbers. And then the other skill is for every 2 cards face up in the G-Zone with a Magia skill, you can Magia something out of soul and give it plus 5k. So you'll go like, what the game wants you to do is Amanda first, because she has Magia, and then you do Mephisto and you get, something out with plus 5, and then the whole field gets an additional plus 1. I tend to do it as my first stride a lot of the time, so I can set up the stride Harri and also get regular Harri to GB2. It depends on how the game goes, so it's not... The Pale Moon got a lot more complicated with, how it plays itself. It requires a lot of thought now, so if you want to play a herp derp deck, this is not the... Go somewhere else. Go to the United Sanctuary. Anyway, so another good thing is he's about $3-4, and if you can't afford Lunatic, who's 15 last I checked, you can run 4 of him, 3 Amanda, and 1 Stride Harri, and the G-Zone gets a lot cheaper for you. But being the clan whore that I am, I invested in my Lunatics early. So
And besides, Lunatic likes children's smiles.
Candy and children's smiles, thank you very much.
That's my
Anyway,
favorite thing.
that was the updated Magia deck profile. Just keep in mind, if you're playing against Shadow Paladin, call your stuff from hand and keep it there. Or Purple Trapezist and keep it there. You see what I'm getting at. Anyway, this was Atlas from Nexus Core. Rate, comment, subscribe, and have a good night.